Welcome to readalign-do-align-cooking.com. My name is Mike Pierce. Welcome to my new mediocre kitchen in my new house. Today we are going to make basic pizza dough using a KitchenAid stand mixer. And if you hear a bunch of chirping in the background, it's because we just got 8 little chicks, and they're right over there, and there's nothing I can really do about it right now. So I'll just deal with it. Anyways, first thing we're going to do is proof our yeast. Okay, proofing your yeast is where you mix your yeast with some warm water and some sugar, and your yeast should grow and you should see some foaming. Okay, so first thing, half a cup of lukewarm water. And this is brand new yeast, so it should be good. And it wants half a teaspoon of yeast. So half a teaspoon. And after you open these, you have to refrigerate them now. Then we're going to take some granulated sugar, and we're going to put about a teaspoon in. 1/2. Okay, that's it for step one. We're just going to wait for our yeast to start foaming. Welcome back. As you can see, the yeast proofed well. It foamed a little bit, which is what we're looking for. Recipe calls for 1.5 cups of lukewarm water. This has got the half cup, so we need 1 cup more. Here's our bowl. You don't want the water too hot or it'll kill your yeast. Bring in the stand mixer. Put in the rest of our yeast mixture. Okay, the recipe I have calls for 4 cups of all-purpose flour, but it wants you to stir in the first cup only. If you're doing this manually, it wants you to stir in the same direction for like a minute. So we'll just let this thing do the work for us. Felt like about a minute. You can just keep going, add the salt, add the olive oil, and just move on, add the rest of the flour. This recipe calls for us to cover what they're calling a sponge, which is just a small amount of flour with the water, and let it sit for about 30 minutes and up to 3 hours. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll be right back. Welcome back. It's been 32 minutes or something like that. I'm not waiting too long. So it's been covered. They call this a sponge, and what they say we should do next is to sprinkle the salt and the oil. The salt is 1/4 teaspoon and the oil is 2 tablespoons. So we'll start with the salt. You always do it over something in case you mess up. Then 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Now it says we have a total of 4 cups of flour. We've already put 1 cup in. We're going to do the remaining 3 cups. It says about a 1/2 cup at a time. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, it says that when you can no longer turn it or stir it, you should turn it out onto a floured surface and knead it for 10 minutes. Except we're doing this with the mixer. So we'll be using the kneading hook in a minute here. Let me just get it off my beater. It says to knead for about 10 minutes. So that's what we're going to let the machine do it for us. And we'll add a little water or flour if we need to, and off we go. Okay, there's our dough ball. All we pretty much need to do now is let it rise. So what you do is you take a bowl, put a little olive oil in it, kind of rub this thing around, and we're going to cover it with some saran wrap, let it sit for about 3 hours. It's going to double in size, and we're going to punch it down, do a little more kneading, and then we'd be ready to go for having a pizza. Welcome back. All right, so after you guys left, I covered it, let it sit for about 3 hours. It doubled in volume. I punched it down, then I just threw it in the fridge overnight. You can keep the dough up to 5 days. They say to get it out of the fridge at least an hour before you're going to use it. It's been closer to 2 hours. I think it's been about an hour and 45 minutes. So here's our dough. Let's get the saran wrap off. What we're going to do is turn it out onto a floured surface and knead it a bit before we start making our pizza. So, there's some flour. Mix that around a bit. There's our dough. First, it's probably just going to take up all my flour, so I might as well just give it some. All right. Kneading dough. That's it right there. You should probably, since it's been sitting, probably knead it for, I don't know, a couple minutes. Nothing too exciting. Just got to warm it up a bit and get it ready to go. Okay. Well, there's our dough. So now what we would do is you can either roll it out, you can press it out, you can do a lot of things. The problem with using a rolling pin is it presses out more of the air than you'd prefer. It also is much easier to get the shape you want. But you can just kind of work it a bit. Probably need more flour. Just use your fingers. You just want to keep doing this until you get the shape you want, basically, and the size you want, and the thickness you want. And then in my case, I'm going to put it on a cast iron pizza plate, which works really well. The best pizzas I've made have been out of that thing. And I have pizza stones, I have all kinds of gizmos, and that thing works the best. It's not even close. But my dough's not ready yet. Got to get the right shape. This works pretty well too if you use your fists. If you use fingers, you tend to poke a finger through. But, or just rip it like I just did. It's okay. It can all be repaired. Okay. We're looking pretty good. If this is the size we're going on, we're about there. So, just pull this thing back a bit, plate in, and there we are. Pizza's basically ready. You could use the roller to cut off the edges as soon as you get it to the right exact place. Maybe a layer of olive oil, then tomato sauce and cheese and toppings. We're basically done. Okay, so we're all done. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe to the channel. Every now and then go up to readalinedocooking.com and take a look at the About page, the recipes, and anything else I put up there. And in the meantime, thank you so much. Bye-bye.